You think she's forgotten you. You think your silence pushed her away for good. But here's the truth she'll never admit out loud. She still thinks about you every single day, even if she's not reaching out, even if she's acting like she's moved on. And the craziest part? The more you pull back, the more your absence haunts her. Because when a woman once felt something real for a man who now shows restraint, her mind doesn't rest. It replays, it questions, it wonders what happened to the man who once made her feel something she can't feel anymore. That emotional vacuum you left behind, it's the loudest silence she's ever heard. See, women don't miss your messages. They miss how your energy made them feel about themselves. They don't crave your attention. They crave the reflection of their own worth they once saw in your eyes. But when you go quiet, when you stop chasing, that mirror disappears. And suddenly, she's alone with her own thoughts. And they're not kind to her. Every confident moment she shows online, every smile, every story, every new guy in her comments, it's not confidence. It's distraction. She's trying to convince the world she's fine so she can convince herself. But the truth? You still echo in her head like a song she can't skip. You see, emotional detachment doesn't happen overnight. It's not the day she left or the week she stopped texting. It's in the quiet 2 a.m. moments when her phone lights up. And it's not you. It's when she scrolls past your name and her chest tightens for a second before she catches herself. It's in the tiny cracks between her pride and her regret. And you, the man watching this right now, you're probably thinking, if she still thinks about me, why doesn't she reach out? Because her silence isn't strength, it's fear. She's afraid that if she reaches out and you don't respond, it'll destroy the illusion that she still has power. So she stays quiet, trapped in a game she doesn't even realize she's losing. Men forget this. When you become the man who no longer needs validation, you flip the dynamic entirely. You stop being the one chasing connection and become the one she's subconsciously drawn back to. Because women don't crave availability. They crave emotional gravity, a man whose presence lingers even when he's not around. You're not being ignored because you lost her. You're being watched because you're slipping out of her emotional control. And nothing terrifies a woman more than realizing she no longer has influence over a man she once felt superior to. So before you think about breaking the silence, understand this. Your distance has already spoken louder than any message could. Every day you remain silent, you plant doubt in her mind, doubt about her choices, doubt about her worth, doubt about whether she ever really knew you. And when that doubt starts to grow, that's when the tables turn. That's when she begins to miss not just you, but the version of herself she was when you wanted her. That's the real addiction she's fighting, the silence you're holding right now. That's not weakness, that's power. The power to make her feel your absence more deeply than your presence ever did. Because in the end, it's not the man who texts first who wins, it's the man who becomes impossible to forget. She doesn't text you, she doesn't call, she doesn't even like your posts anymore. But don't be fooled, you're still living rent-free in her mind, because attraction isn't erased by silence, it's amplified by uncertainty. And right now, your silence has become the biggest mystery she's ever tried to solve. See, women don't crave clarity. They crave emotional friction, that unpredictable energy that makes their mind chase for closure. When you disappear after giving her connection, it doesn't make her move on. It makes her spiral. Because she can't categorize you. You're no longer predictable. You're no longer safe. And in a woman's world, the man she can't read becomes the man she can't release. When you used to text her every morning, she knew exactly where she stood. When you complimented her, when you tried to fix things, when you showed her you cared, she felt powerful. She had you mapped out. But when you went silent, her control slipped. And for the first time, she had to face what it means to be without your emotional attention. That's not peace for her, that's withdrawal. You see, emotional detachment doesn't just free you, it exposes her dependency. Every woman who once thrived off your attention feels the emptiness when it's gone. And even if she doesn't reach out, she starts checking. She checks your stories from a fake account. She asks mutual friends about you. She tries to decode your silence through everything you don't post. That's how women connect when their pride won't let them show it. You might think she's cold, but she's burning under the surface, because what she's really thinking is, why hasn't he come back? Has he replaced me? Does he even think about me anymore? Those questions drive her insane, because they break the illusion that she was unforgettable. The truth is, women don't want closure. They want to know they still matter. And when you stop giving them that, when you stop being emotionally available, their mind turns your absence into a puzzle. They'll replay every argument, every laugh, every kiss, not to remember you, but to figure out why you stopped caring. And that search becomes emotional gravity. The more she tries to escape it, the deeper she sinks into it. That's why silence works, not as a game, but as self-respect. Because when a man who once gave everything suddenly goes quiet, it forces her to see what life looks like without his energy. And if she ever truly valued you, that realization will shake her. But here's the paradox. If you break your silence too soon, you destroy the illusion. You remind her that she still has you, and the moment she feels safe again, the chase dies. She'll smile, reply politely, and emotionally check out, because she won. So you have to understand this. Your silence isn't about punishing her. It's about protecting your own power. It's the boundary that separates a man who acts out of emotion from a man who acts out of purpose. You're not proving you don't care. You're proving you no longer need her validation to feel strong, and that difference changes everything. When a woman senses that a man has detached emotionally, not out of anger, but out of growth, something deep inside her awakens. She starts to question every other man who tries to get her attention. None of them feel like you did. None of them make her nervous like you did. None of them make her heart skip like you did. Because once a woman tastes genuine masculine energy, she can't unfeel it. And that's the quiet storm you've created. You've gone from being the one who chased her to being the one she silently obsesses over. And even though she'll never admit it, her ego is battling her heart right now. Her ego says, "Stay silent, don't reach out." But her heart whispers, "What if he never comes back?" And that question, my friend, is the one she'll think about when she lays in bed at night, scrolling through old photos she swore she deleted, wondering how she lost a man who finally learned how to walk away. What she's feeling now isn't absence, it's an echo. Every man she talks to, every date she forces herself to enjoy, every night she laughs too loud to prove she's over it, all of it is a cover for that echo. The ghost of your presence that keeps replaying in her head, reminding her that she once had something real and lost it. See, men often underestimate the emotional imprint they leave on a woman. You think you're just another chapter, but you're the one story she can't rewrite, because you weren't just another man. You were the mirror that showed her who she could be when she was seen by someone who truly understood her. And when that reflection disappears, it's not just you she misses. It's who she was when she was with you. That's the cruel beauty of human psychology. We attach not to people, but to the feelings they awaken in us. And when those feelings vanish, the mind starts chasing the memory like a drug. That's what she's doing now, even if she doesn't realize it. She's trying to recreate that feeling, with new faces, new experiences, new distractions, but nothing hits the same. Because what you gave her wasn't surface-level attention. It was depth, presence, certainty. And when that kind of energy leaves her life, every man after you feels like noise. They talk, they flirt, they compliment her, but none of them make her nervous. None of them make her pause mid-sentence just to collect her breath. None of them make her feel chosen the way you did. And that's the void she's fighting, even as she pretends she's fine. Women are emotional architects. They build connections through feelings, not logic. So when those emotional structures collapse, they don't rebuild overnight. They try to patch the cracks. They tell themselves they're better off. They post the quotes that scream independence. But inside, they're haunted by the one man who stopped giving them what they took for granted. And here's where it gets deep. When you went silent, you forced her to face her own emotional reflection. No more dopamine hits from your messages. No more reassurance when she felt insecure. Just silence. That silence isn't empty. It's a mirror. It shows her who she becomes when she's not being validated. And that's the part she can't stand. Because your silence doesn't just say, "I've moved on." It says, "I no longer need your permission to be at peace." That kind of strength is rare, and a woman can feel it even from miles away. That's why she still checks. That's why she still wonders. Because somewhere deep down, she knows, if you can live without her, she's no longer the center of your world. And that loss of emotional control eats at her. She might act unbothered, but pay attention to the small signs. The subtle posts meant for you. The stories with that familiar song. The sudden glow-up that seems a little too timed. Those are not coincidences. Those are silent signals. Her pride won't let her say it, but her behavior betrays her truth. She's still trying to be seen by the man who's no longer looking. And here's something most men never realize. Women don't crave the man who makes them feel safe. They crave the man who makes them feel something real. And real emotions are unpredictable. They create longing, curiosity, even fear. That's what you've become, an emotional imprint she can't shake. You're not just the man she remembers, you're the man who woke her up emotionally. You broke her pattern. You made her feel alive in a world where most people settle for convenience. And once a woman experiences that kind of emotional truth, she never forgets it, no matter how much time passes. That's why you must not chase. Because the moment you do, you remind her that the story is still in her control. But the moment you stay still, calm, grounded, untouchable, you rewrite her memory of you. You become the man she should have kept. And the longer you remain silent, the more her mind rewrites the narrative. Not as he lost me, but as I lost him. That's when regret starts to whisper. That's when she begins to realize that the man she once thought she could replace might have been the only one who truly saw her. There comes a moment, and she'll never tell anyone this, when the silence stops feeling like freedom and starts feeling like punishment. That's when she realizes something has changed. The power she once held over you is gone, and she can't understand how it happened, because at first, she thought she won. She thought your silence was temporary. She told herself you'd come back, that you couldn't go that long without her energy, her voice, her approval. But days turned into weeks, and your absence didn't bend, it solidified. You stopped reacting. You stopped chasing. You stopped needing her to see your worth. And that's when the shift happened. The invisible moment when control quietly moved from her hands to yours. Most men never make it to this point. They break too soon. They send the text, the apology, the just checking in message. And in doing so, they reset the balance back in her favor. But when you hold your silence long enough, something powerful happens. She starts to feel what you once felt. The uncertainty, the doubt, the restlessness. You've reversed the polarity, and now she's the one overthinking. She's the one replaying memories. She's the one scrolling your feed, wondering who you've become without her. Because here's the truth. A woman's mind can't resist a mystery, especially one she once thought she'd already solved. Your silence has created that mystery. You've become unpredictable, unreachable, and in her world, that's magnetic. Because she's used to men who orbit her, not men who outgrow her. She's used to men who beg for closure, not men who create it by walking away. You're not being cold, you're being calm. You're not being distant, you're being deliberate. And that composure hits her harder than any words ever could. It's not about playing games, it's about mastering your emotional energy. You've shown her that your peace no longer depends on her participation. And that shakes her identity. Because when a woman realizes she can't manipulate a man emotionally anymore, she starts to reflect on what she lost. That's when nostalgia kicks in. That's when the images come flooding back. Your voice, your patience, your strength. She remembers how it felt when you listened without judgment, when your presence grounded her, when your eyes saw through her defenses. And now, no one sees her like that. No one listens like that. No one makes her feel that alive. That's the hidden power of detachment. You don't chase, you don't beg, you just become, you evolve in silence. You redirect all that energy you used to spend on her into building your own life, your body, your mind, your mission. You rise without needing her to witness it, and that's what makes her crave you more. Because now she senses it, that quiet confidence, that self-possession. She feels your growth like static in the air. You've stopped reaching down to pull her close. Instead, you've risen high enough that she now has to reach up to meet you. This is where attraction transforms into respect. It's no longer about her missing your affection. It's about her realizing she's no longer in your league emotionally. That's what happens when a man learns to detach with grace, not resentment. You stop being her emotional anchor and become her emotional mirror, reflecting back everything she's lost. And here's what most men don't understand. Women are drawn to peace they can't disturb. When you become emotionally stable, when you move with purpose instead of reaction, when you stop proving your value and simply embody it, you become magnetic in ways you can't fake. Now, she doesn't see silence as indifference anymore. She sees it as strength. She sees it as leadership. She sees it as the kind of discipline that only comes from a man who's faced his emotions, mastered them, and refused to be controlled by them again. And in that moment, something inside her breaks, her illusion of power, because now she realizes you never needed her to feel complete. You wanted her, but you never needed her. And that truth cuts deeper than any goodbye ever could. So stay still, stay grounded, because the longer you hold that calm silence, the louder her mind becomes. And one day soon, when her pride finally cracks, you'll see that message, the one that starts with, "Hey, just wanted to check on you." But by then, you'll already know, the power was never in getting her back. It was in becoming the man she can never forget. There's a moment she won't tell anyone about, not her friends, not her followers, not even herself when she looks in the mirror. It's that quiet night when the noise fades, when her phone stops lighting up, and for the first time in a long time, she feels the weight of everything she pretended not to care about. That's when it hits her. She lost something real, and no amount of distraction can numb it anymore. Because the truth is, silence changes people. It forces them to see what words used to hide. She scrolls through her phone, searching for a trace of you, maybe a photo, a message, something she can justify opening again. She'll hover over your name, thumb trembling, debating whether to reach out, but she won't, not yet, because reaching out means admitting she was wrong. And her pride, that's the only thing she still has left to protect. But what she doesn't know is that you already forgave her in silence. You already moved on, not from her, but from the version of yourself that once needed her validation. That's what stings the most. You became the man she always wanted, but too late for her to claim. It's the way you carry yourself now. Calm, collected, unbothered. You're not trying to prove a point. You're just living. Your silence has matured into presence, and that's the kind of power that can't be faked. It's what separates men who react from men who evolve. She'll sense it. Women always do. They can feel when your energy shifts from chasing to leading. She'll start to question everything. Was he always this strong? Did I underestimate him? Would he even take me back? These questions haunt her not because of who you were, but because of who you became without her. That's the paradox she can't escape. The more you grow, the smaller her illusion becomes. The more peace you find, the more chaos she feels. Because deep down, she realizes something every woman eventually learns too late. The man who doesn't seek her approval becomes the man every woman wants. And here's where your true power lies. Not in making her miss you, but in making her respect you again. That's the highest form of attraction. Not lust, not nostalgia, respect. When she finally looks at you and sees a man who no longer needs her, who no longer bends under the weight of emotion, who no longer confuses connection with dependency, that's when she feels the deepest kind of pull. The one that says, I can't control him anymore, and now I want him more than ever. But here's the secret no one tells you. By the time she feels that, you won't need her anymore. You'll look back and realize that her silence was never rejection. It was redirection. It forced you to face yourself, to find your edge again, to rebuild the parts of you that love once weakened. And in doing so, you became something rare. A man who can love deeply without losing himself. That's what makes you unforgettable. Not the messages, not the memories, not the moments, but the transformation. The man she left behind isn't the same man standing here now. You've evolved. You've reclaimed your energy. You've become unshakable. So if she's not reaching out, let her stay silent, because her silence is proof that you've broken her pattern. Her silence means she's thinking, she's remembering, she's regretting, and maybe, just maybe, she's realizing that she'll never find another man who had the strength to walk away and actually mean it. You see, every woman secretly fears one thing, not losing a man, but losing a man who finally understood her and still chose peace over her chaos. That's the kind of man who lingers in her soul long after the messages fade, long after the feelings cool, long after the story ends, and right now, you're that man, the one who didn't beg, the one who didn't break, the one who became stronger in silence. So don't question her absence, don't chase what already knows where to find you, because when a man finds peace in solitude, he becomes the storm she'll never forget. Question for you, if she texted you tonight, "Hey, I've been thinking about you," would you reply? Or would you finally let your silence say everything? Share your answer in the comments. Your story might wake another man up tonight. If this message hit deep, like this video, subscribe for more powerful truths about female psychology and share it with a brother who needs to hear this before he breaks his silence for the wrong woman.